Hi, this is Cindy Rowe, your host of the Kindness Advantage, where in 10 minutes or less, I will show you ways you can implement kindness into your business, your organization, and your personal life. So today's topic is being kind in unkind situations. I talk about this a lot in my keynote, and just recently I was a speaker at a school assembly for junior high students, and I was hired to talk about kindness and respect. And there's a lot of bullying that's happening. Um, I think not only in our schools, but also in our workplaces. And my message was that we get to choose how we respond, and we get to choose the kind of person that we are. And when we have the values of kindness and respect, it's really hard for people to continually be mean towards us. And although it probably won't stop bullying immediately, I think it has the power to stop it eventually. So, when you are in an unkind situation, and this is where I talk about kindness being a strength over a weakness. And this is where I talk about kindness really being a superpower because it takes a lot of strength and courage to remain calm and kind in unkind situations. And for instance, let's say somebody comes up to you, and this could be at the workplace or in a social gathering for that matter, um, but they are yelling at you, putting you down. Maybe you screwed up on something. Um, so they're really irritated. It is our natural human instinct to fire back the same way that it was given to us. So it is just in our natural human instinct to do that. What I'm asking you to do, which takes a lot of strength and courage, is to remain calm. Sometimes that means a deep breath and respond with kindness, with empathy. Maybe you need to take a break and walk away and say, I'll be right back. I have to breathe a little bit before I respond to you. But taking that breath, that moment, and then responding, the situation will naturally deflate, and you can then have a great conversation, you know? And if it was your issue that maybe you messed up, you screwed up on something, you can take a minute to apologize and then say, "Here, look, I didn't mean to do that, and I don't, it's not fair for you to come at me like that. Let's figure out a way, a solution that we can both move forward with this." Let's say somebody ticked you off, right? And let you down. Maybe you found out somebody lied to you. It is so easy to react with anger and disrespect and telling them off. But if you were to pause at that point again and take a breath or step back and look at the situation, here's the deal. 9 times out of 10, people don't do things to you on purpose, like bad things, right? Like people, we don't mess up on purpose. We don't try to tick others off on purpose most of the time. And so when we can realize that we are really all human beings and we all make mistakes, and we can take that step back and breathe just a little bit and respond with kindness, compassion, and empathy, I truly believe things will turn out better. But again, I understand in the heat of the moment, and this is what I told the kids, like, if you are being shoved in the back or purposely tripped in the hallway, it is really hard at that moment not to get ticked off, pissed off, whatever, and say something unkind or maybe shove them back or make a big scene. But if you can learn to choose to respond in a calm and kind manner, that stuff won't happen to you frequently. So I hope this gives you maybe a little shed of light on unkind situations. And I share a story in my keynote about a gentleman that, well, actually, it was a flight gate attendant, and she really messed up with something. In fact, found out later that she broke a federal regulation, but her boss, or who we assume was her boss, came over in front of everybody that was supposed to be on that plane, um, and in front of her coworkers, yelling at her, screaming at her for messing up, then grabbed her by the arm and pulled her away. And that's just not acceptable. Like, nobody deserves to be treated like that in the workplace. And, like, ultimately, she messed up. And she should probably be fired because she broke a federal regulation. But she didn't do it purposefully. In fact, she was trying to help the flight crew, and she was really trying to be the best employee by getting these people on the plane as quickly as possible because they had been through so much. But she did not need to be ridiculed and yelled at in front of everybody. If we could rewind and redo this whole situation, the manager, supervisor, whatever, could calmly walk over and say, we need to go have a conversation behind closed doors, and then have that conversation behind closed doors. And again, it was the heat of the moment. And that's where it matters, right? That's where, if we continually practice intentional kindness, it becomes a little bit easier to catch ourselves in that heat of the moment situation. It's really hard. You have to have strength and courage, but I think it's possible. So thank you so much for joining me today. If this resonated with you, if you found value, I would totally appreciate a comment or a share. Tell a friend about the podcast. Always loving you to subscribe to my channels, wherever you watch this at. And thank you so much for being a listener to The Kindness Advantage. I'll end it like I always do. Together, we create waves of change through kindness. Have a great week.